Hey guys, back in the basement this morning. We're going to show you how to make a new pickguard for well, pretty much for any guitar that you want to do, but basically I'm going to be remaking one for the rockabilly guitar that I made in one of the other videos. This is the guitar here. Pickguard mounts here, and then on a bracket down low, you can see the bracket down there by the F-hole. And it can pretty much be any shape that you want it to. The stock pickguard looks like this. It is a 3-ply black and sits in there like that. I'm not a huge fan of the black on this guitar. With the blue top, it's a little dark, and the light sides. I am going to make a light color one to kind of match the sides. I'm also going to do the truss rod cover as well. It's just a little triangle. Might as well do it while you're doing the rest of them, right? But basically, all this stuff kind of applies to making whatever kind of pickguard you want, whether it be, you know, a Telecaster or a Strat. You just have to cut it to shape. I'm gonna make it out of wood. You can make it out of plastic. I don't work with plastic as much as I do with wood, so I'm gonna make it out of wood just because I like it that way. Cutting the plastic is fine. You can still do it with the saw and use the files the same way that we're gonna do this one out of wood, but I just kind of like the wood look better. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna show you how to cut it out, shape it. We'll probably hit it with some shellac to get to be a similar color to the side of this thing, and then we'll slap it on. Okay, so pickguard is here. The truss rod cover, it's just a triangle. I'm going to make a new pickguard out of this here. This is just a basswood from the hobby store. We're going to cut the pickguard shape and the truss rod shape out of it with the bandsaw, and we're going to get it fit up here. It should look a little better with the color scheme of the guitar. Alright, so I've got my pickguard laid out how I want it. This doesn't have a ton of grain in it, so you don't need to worry too much, but I kind of want the grain orientation going the long way. So we're going to line this up how we want it. I'm also going to use this edge that's square here to line up, as these two spots are square as well. That will keep this from having to be too much sanded to look correct. So I'm just going to outline it all in pencil, and then we'll cut it out. Alright, we've got all of our shapes cut out now, so we'll head off to the bandsaw and cut it out. If you're going to use a coping saw, you need to, this stuff is pretty thin, so you're going to want to set it on the side of your workbench and cut slowly and keep moving it around. That will be the best way to keep from breaking it while you're cutting it, but just go slow and you should have no problems. This stuff is pretty thin. So this is massively overkill to cut a piece like this on the bandsaw. I couldn't find my coping saw, and so this is what I'm going to use. We're just going to cut the shapes out real quick, and we will use some files and sandpaper to get them close to the right shape, and then we will slap some finish on them and we'll be done. It's a pretty easy process, but here we go. cut up pretty close to the lines. I don't know if you can see the pencil lines in there or not, but you can kind of see the corners are squared off on these things. So we're pretty much going to use a couple of files here to get it down to shape. This is just a flat file to do the bulk of the work, and then there's the rounded. I got a rounded one here just for the corners. We're gonna get it about to shape, and then we're gonna put the bevels on it. So. We're pretty much at the shape we want right now. As long as you got smooth transitions, doesn't matter if it's exactly the same as that other one. So you could stop here, sand it down, give it a bit of finish, and you'd be done. But I want to give it a bit of a beveled edge. I mean, that's the way it was on the last one. Doesn't really matter. You could certainly leave it like this and just be done with it. You don't want to bevel any of these areas here that go by the pickups. You want these all to be nice and flat. So you're only going to bevel this outside edge. And we're just going to use a file to do that. And you're going to clean it up with sandpaper. This is just 220. You can pretty much, this stuff is pretty easy to sand away, so you can clean up most anything with just the sandpaper. So you're going to want to get it close to the way that you want it here, and then you just clean it up with the sandpaper. Alright, so project is pretty much done. I ended with 2 pickguards. Basically, this first one was just to try it out and make sure I could do it before I did all the filming stuff, so just kind of a test run. This is what I ended up with at the end. It's the same shape. I did black on the edges just to kind of separate it from everything else. I did the same thing on the truss rod cover. It was, a couple hours worth of work. It was something to differentiate this from everything else. I didn't really like the plastic one, so just thought I would try to make another. These, in my opinion, they look just as good as the originals, and they're a little bit different, so might as well try something different to build up your skills. You can use this to do, could be, you could do Pickguard on anything after this. Just gotta take your time and make sure it all fits correctly. Not much of an outlay of cash for this. The board itself was like $10, but you could probably get at least 4 or 5 out of it, if not 6. So you're not spending a whole lot. To find a bigger board to do, if you've got a thin line telly with a big pickguard, you're gonna need a bigger sheet. But the plate, I got it at a hobby store, but you might be able to get something similar at a hardware store, maybe Home Depot or something. Although I looked there and they don't have great, what you would normally consider hobby grade lumber. There's also a model store that does some like balsa planes and stuff that had some sheets as well, although they were pretty expensive. But easy project. You could do this for anything. I'm going to bolt these on. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll be done.